I redo a lot of all the Scream stuff because I want to make sure that it's right and perfect and that everybody is happy with it and whatnot.
I'll never get over him telling that kid to steal his mother's phone and post Narumi is cool 10 times, like while lives are on the line.
Clifford the big red dog is a kaiju.
Are we imagining like a Cujo scenario where he got rabies?
Oh, God. No.
You're watching convention coverage.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nazeeh Tarsha, also known as Kaiju No. 8 in Kaiju No. 8, also known as Kiju No. And yeah, and that's all you really need to know about me. I'm here. I'm really, really great at panels.
My name is Landon McDonald. I play Vice Captain Hoshina in Kaiju No. 8. Oh, thank you. You might also know me as Rampo from Bungo Stray Dogs, Kazuki from Buddy Daddies, Degasu from Dragon Ball Daima, Rohan from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and a whole bunch of different shows. I pop up in everything. And this is actually my first time in Sacramento, so thank you for making me feel so welcome so far.
I'm Aaron Dismuke.
Nobody cares.
Oh, wow.
Shots fired. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I love you, Aaron.
No. How dare you bully the baby?
I'm just the baby.
The baby!
I voiced Gen Narumi in Kaiju No. 8.
Aww.
There.
Lurv.
I also voiced Senku and Dr. Stone, Tamaki in My Hero Academia, Alphonse in Fullmetal Alchemist, and some other stuff.
Woot woot.
Quick and painless, Aaron. Quick and painless. You did so well. You did really well, okay? Abigail Blythe, the voice of Kikuru Shinomiya in Kaiju No. 8, Neffy and Archdemon's Dilemma, How to Love Your Elf Bride, Eternity Devil and Chainsaw Man, and most recently Trissy and Lord of the Mysteries. And clap if you like cats.
Hi, I'm Katelyn Barr. I voice Captain Mina Ashiro in Kaiju No. 8.
Woo!
Oh, clap if you like tigers.
Bako.
I do everything in one take because I'm perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
No, I'm just kidding.
It's true.
It's true.
One and done.
One and done.
Can you do that one again?
Can you give me a little bit more?
Oh my dang.
That was good. All right, Joe. All right.
Yeah, no, he's got some bite. I dig it.
He's spicy.
Kitty's got claws.
For me, funny enough, and I also really hate it, and actually Aaron can attest to this based off of a different show that he directed me on briefly. I redo a lot of all the Scream stuff because I want to make sure that it's right and it's perfect and that everybody is happy with it and whatnot. So like the very, very first time he punches the kaiju to protect a little girl, the time that he smashes the meteor out of the air to protect the world. I do those several times. I've gotten better about like reducing them because of vocal health and want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself. And it is a bad thing to constantly put yourself through, especially when they are very guttural and vocal and whatnot. But I want to make sure that we're doing our best and that you all have the most visceral and best product that you can get.
Yeah, for me it's kind of funny. I've been in a lot of shows that oftentimes are vocally stressful for other actors, like Dragon Ball and JoJo's, but usually my characters tend to be more soft-spoken. I mean, Rohan gets annoyed at times and calls out Heaven's Door, but that's not really as vocally stressful as, what was it, the 80-page Muda?
Oh, yeah.
That poor Philip had to go through. Yeah. So it's all relative. And Dragon Ball, Degasu doesn't really fight, so that was never an issue. With Kaiju, though, it's my first time really doing kind of concentrated combat scenarios in these kinds of shows. And like he was saying, you really want to get it right. You really want to, honor what's being done by the seiyuu, and you also want to make sure that the audience really feels the visceral impact of what your character is going through. So during the fight with number 10, I definitely wanted to do multiple takes just to get them all just right, to really, so what Hoshin is going through in that moment, how he's, there are flashbacks where you kind of get a sense of his past and why actually he makes fun of Kafka, but I think he also though has they're kind of kindred spirits in some ways, because you find out that Hoshina also kind of was overlooked and underestimated early on in his career, and so there's a certain commonality there. So I really wanted to sell that emotionally and also physically, as the fight with number 10 gets more and more intense. So with that episode, for sure, that was the one that probably required the most takes.
I think, combat is always interesting. I've been doing this for like over 20 years, and I grew up kind of following what the Dragon Ball actors said about it, which is basically like, you can talk about technique, but at the end of the day, like, you'll do the least damage to your voice if you go all out in the first take, so you don't have to do more takes, is kind of how they said it. And I think the strategy has evolved since then. Like, I've learned, for me, if I start out at like 70%, I have more control and more staying power, and so it'll end up sounding better. Even if I'm gonna go to 100% by the end of it, I try to start out a little more restrained, but that can always be really tough, especially if your character is going through something really emotional, like your adoptive father figure just got eaten or something, just hypothetically.
Purely hypothetical.
Yeah. But honestly, I think I did the most takes on the meeting scene with Shinomiya.
Yeah.
Just because, with all the Amazon boxes and him gremlining out, just because Narumi's face was doing some wacky there. So there's just a lot of dynamic shifts that we wanted to get right and still have a continuity, even though his face is literally transforming between different subhuman skull shapes. Yeah.
That heartbreaking moment when you meet your hero and you find out he drinks gamer fuel. Oh, no.
Yeah, horrible experience for Shinomiya. I have to know on those, whenever you get kicked and it's like the, Are those like first takers?
They never are. We really finesse those.
It's important.
Those.
Yeah.
Those aren't chases at all.
They take a lot of and finesse.
Yeah. Those are my favorites. Most obviously, I think we talked about a little bit, but that office scene where she is, spoiler alert for anyone that has not seen season 2 yet, you can plug your ears. But after everything that happens with her dad and him getting eaten by Kaiju number 9 and her just breaking down in his office, I was so nervous for that session because I read the whole manga before I came in for my first session as Kikuru. So of course, like from that very first day, I was like nervous for doing that episode in the future because it's such an iconic moment in the manga. And I'm a perfectionist just like her. I think a lot of us are as artists, and I really wanted it to be good. Like, I was just talking to Sean in the session, the director, and I was just like, I just want it to be good. And he's like, I know, Abigail, I know you want it to be good. I'm like, so I did get pretty emotional in the booth recording that scene, and then we came back later on and got a couple more takes. So it's kind of a blend of real crying and then coming back in for more of what they call acting these days. Turns out you don't actually have to cry and break down in the booth for a breakdown scene. But yeah, other than that, there's in episode 4 when she's getting like shot up by number 9, there's like this one specific little like half a second part where she gets like shot up with like 9 bullets at the same time, and I had to like rapid fire do like that exert noise of what it's like getting shot, which I don't know what that sounds like. So I was like and then like we had to take that like 5-6 times because I was like, what is this even supposed to sound like? And I was like getting in my head about it. I was like, this is so hard. And I still remember that moment as like one of the hardest things I've had to record, because sometimes the hardest things you have to record are just noises or like sounds, especially in action stuff. And yeah, that was horrible, but I hope you can't notice it.
I was kidding about being perfect on the first take all the time. I was kidding.
She's not. She's had a lot of time to think of a fake scene that took her
I was
minutes.
stalling. No. Like, our director, Sean Gann, is very, very passionate about the show. He's amazing. And he puts a lot of care into especially those very emotional scenes. So the scene with Mina and Kafka in the back of the van, sorry, I'm like... we put a lot of extra love into that one because with Mina, it's hard sometimes to pick the moments where her facade cracks a little bit, and that's definitely, if there was one moment for her facade to crack, it's that scene in the back of the van. So yeah, we did a lot of takes for that one.
I would love to know if there was a particular character you were hoping to be that you didn't get to be. And now that the series is officially over in the manga, would you change who you are now if you could?
You know, that's such a funny question because, you know, and this goes kind of in line with just in general, like what's an audition that you got that you didn't get that you wish you did? Because, you know, at the end of the day, everyone in this industry in some way or another are peers of ours, friends, you know, people we hang out with. And while there may be roles that we may have been gunning for or wished for, at the end of the day, you know, we're happy for our friends to have gotten the roles that they did. And, you know, for me, I have to believe that, I legitimately just wasn't right for the role, and I got what it was that I fit for. And I don't know that I would ever be able to answer that question because, you know, at the end of the day, I think it's kind of, it puts people in a weird spot where it's just like, I wish I had your character. Because it's like, you know, there is a level of like, kind of like ungratefulness or like, you know, kind of envy. And that's not the kind of energy that I want to put out there. And now granted, easy for me to say I booked the main character. So I realize how, like, you know, like, you know, anytime someone's like, oh, what anime character did you wish? I was like, my answer is always Sailor Moon. Like, I'm just going to put something that never would have happened in a million years. It takes the guilt out. But I'm very privileged for the things that have been given to me. In the case of this show and all shows, I'm happy with what I have. And I'm just happy for my friends for what they've gotten.
That deserves, yes, please.
We were all stoked to hear that you were Kaiju number 8.
We were, very much so. Now, I still remember, I say this every panel, but looking at that cast list for the first time and being like, thank God, this is going to be so much fun. I can't wait to travel with these guys and have fun with them. You know, because it's a really good lineup of fantastic actors, but also just really decent, sweet, kind people. So we're very privileged. We're privileged to do this job, period, but especially in the company of these peers, absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, though, Hoshino was my dream role that came true. He was the only one I was seriously gunning for in the show, and I'm so happy it worked out because I remember reading the manga years before the anime was, you know, even officially announced, and I was like, oh yeah, if there's ever a chance, by crook, I must read for this character. I have to find a way, and I'm happy it worked out. To put it mildly, I'm very happy.
I will say, so I didn't get to audition for Narumi. I only auditioned for, you know, we only had the season 1 auditions come out basically. So, oh gosh, I'm a goldfish. Is it Reno?
Yeah, Reno.
So, Reno.
Yeah.
So Reno, Hoshina, and Kafka, I think were the only male characters that you could audition for.
Isao too.
Oh, Isao, yeah.
Hoshino, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see myself as any of them really. But I guess the only reason I bring it up is because you never know what you're really auditioning for. A lot of the time you audition and like I used to feel really pressured to audition outside of my vocal range to try to do a thing that I wasn't really comfortable doing or very good at. But now I realize like, no, just like do your best, make sure you sound naturally you first and foremost, because they're not really just auditioning for those guys. So Narumi ended up being a great case of that. I wouldn't switch him for anybody. Yeah.
You never know. A lot of the stuff I'm most known for, I was just autocast for, and that's because I read in previous, rounds for different characters, and then they thought of me for other things, like Demon Slayer. Yeah. I went through 2 rounds of casting, and I think it was the Serpent Hashira. I tried out for him and made him sound just a little bit too evil in how snaky he was, and so they're like, oh, you're wrong for that. But this Dream Demon, that's the one. We're going to give you that. And so, it just, like he says, you never really know what you're actually auditioning for, because they're always going to keep you in mind for other things.
Yeah, it is an interesting question. I only read about 5 to 10 chapters of the manga for the auditions, just because we get so many auditions for things, and a lot of the time you want to read as much as possible, as little as possible, so you don't get too excited about it. I learned that the hard way. But I actually really wanted to get Mina because I just love cats. I had no really big knowledge about like the characters, but I didn't think I was going to get anything in the show. I was still so new, and I still am so new. And the building. So I was like, I want her 'cause she has a cat. But outside of that, I had like no brain cells to rub together of like, oh, I'm going to get cast in this. I was just like, I'm going to have fun with these auditions, and then I'm definitely not getting cast in this. So it's like a huge show. Like you usually just don't ever like get cast in like really big things like so early on in your career. So I felt like so lucky to be brought onto this project. When I got the email that I was cast for Kikuru, I was even like, oh, is she like a big character? Because at that point it was like already like a month and a half that after we had done the auditions, and as actors we have this big rule of like send and forget, because we do so many auditions that if you let it stay in your mind, you'll get your feelings hurt really fast. So I'll audition for things and I'll forget them immediately. So when I got that email, it was like, whoa, like I didn't in a million years think that I would ever get cast in this project. And then immediately I binged the manga trying to get it all read before I got called in 2 days later for the trailer. But I made sure that I had the entire manga read before my first session with her. And then I was, at that point, I was gone. I was completely like in love with the character, and she had already meant so much to me, like after reading like everything, and I was so excited and just like felt so lucky. So and now that I've read everything, I wouldn't pick anybody else. I think that like I feel so closely related to her as a person, and like relating to her character. Like I think we have a lot of similarities, and she's just one of my favorite characters that I've ever read too. I think she has so much depth to her, like as a very strong female character in anime.
Yeah. I read for both female characters as well, because that's the two female characters that were on the audition. I read for almost everything because, like you said, that you never know, unless I just have no business whatsoever. Like, but I'll try to stretch and challenge myself. And I knew I wasn't going to book Kikoru. That's not my range at all. But I read it anyway, and did my best. You know, you never know. Sometimes you book something that you really did not think you were going to. Yeah, but Mina is like absolutely like right square in the middle of my niche, and I love her, and that's my natural voice, and it's like stepping into comfy shoes every time I read for Mina, or every time I record for Mina. So yeah, I would definitely keep Mina, like easy choice for me.
What do you think it is about Kaiju No. 8 that sets it apart from other action anime? And I guess to give some examples, like, you know, your Demon Slayer, your JJK, stuff like that. What sets Kaiju No. 8 apart from those other action anime?
The biggest thing, in my opinion, that sets it apart is the relatability. You know, I touched on the characterization earlier, and, you know, you noting the whole elder millennial thing.
You caught me.
You know, look, I got one foot in the grave too, brother. It's all good.
Our backs hurt.
I can't bend without having to go to the emergency room. It's all good. The fact that the protagonist is a 32-year-old down on his luck, you go into his apartment, it is a half-barren, barely skating by. You get a look at the cleanup crew. They're legitimate people. You know, it's not just a matter of like going into a world and seeing like, oh, look at all these samurai and look at all these wizards and whatever. It's like, no, like, as fantastical as the world of kaiju is, considering, you know, giant monsters and whatnot, there is a really great level of groundedness that is also portrayed through all the characters. And again, the fact that every single character, not only the ones that are like, you know, here, but even the you know, just the entire cast, there is a facet of each person's personality that can resonate with anybody in this audience. You know, nobody seems out of the realm of possibility, and I think that is the big thing that kind of draws. You know, it's not a happy-go-lucky 13-year-old destined to be God. It is, you know, real people with real problems that are also destroying kaiju. But yeah, the relatability, I think, is the big thing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that, you know, after so many years of, you know, these protags that are younger and often prodigiously gifted from the start of the show, you know, there is something really nice. It's a breath of fresh air to have the main character be someone who's older and someone who thought their dreams had kind of passed them by. You know, felt like the time was running out, and suddenly through a very unusual circumstance, it actually did work out, and they got to live their dreams, and that's pretty cool. I think that's a lot of people have glommed onto that. And what I also like about it is that, there's lots of blood and guts, but this violence is very stylized. You can watch it with your family. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon, but just like a really, really well written one with great character dynamics. So that's pretty fun too. It's funny. I have people that come up to me with little kids and they're like, "Oh, we love Chainsaw Man." I'm like, "You watch Chainsaw Man with your kids?" Wow, okay. But with kaiju, it's like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." Because it's. There's a sense of danger. There's a sense of, our heroes are in peril quite a bit, but it's also, stylized and fun. So that's part of the appeal, I think. And also, frankly, let's be real, the music.
That's what I was
the soundtrack. Holy hell, yeah. We get like a Bond theme level song every season, or several of them, in fact. For season 1, though, I got to say, Nobody was my favorite. Yeah. Every time that kicked in, I was like, oh, wow. They've really perfected the art of, the writers of the show have perfected the art of the cliffhanger. So every time Nobody kicked in, I was like, oh, okay, all right, see you next week, I guess. But yeah. And I think it is, because of the release pattern, too. It's kind of bringing back the idea of water cooler TV. It's like, have you seen this week's yet? It doesn't release all at once, which I think it's the right call, for this show especially, I think, to do it week by week. Because that way, you whet people's appetites. And for those of you who are waiting to binge, that's totally fine too. But I like the idea of it being weekly installments.
This kind of plays on what Nazeeh was saying. I read recently a thing, limitations are more interesting than capabilities was the thing. And I think, Kaiju does a really good job of establishing characters' limitations and then challenging them accordingly. Like Hoshina has some great stuff along those lines where it's like he's the best at killing small kaiju. Cool, let's throw a giant one at him, And so I think the show does a great job of setting up every character to be forced to grow by confronting them with their own limitations. And I mean, that's just good moral content in terms of that's always going to be applicable to the people watching because we know our limitations, and a lot of the time we avoid trying to deal with them and seeing people do it and succeed it's good for the soul.
Wow, spoken like a true writer, Aaron. Yeah. That quote there was crazy.
That was like a pageant answer. That was great.
I know, right? I was like, wow, okay. I think it has something, a little bit of something for everybody. Definitely family friendly, which I really appreciate. My partner, she doesn't really watch anime at all, but she's seen Kaiju, and she loves it. She's seen it many times. I would say as much as it having something for everyone genre-wise, I think character-wise too, since it does such a great job of developing not only the main character, but all of the side characters. Not only is it a love letter to anime fans that are in their 30s now, and it's you can still follow your dreams, it's not too late for you. It's also a great love letter for younger high school fans, like Kikuru. You might be in 4 different AP classes. You might have an academic complex where definitely that was me, where I was I have to get straight A's. I got 1 B- in all of college, and I thought that I almost was gonna freak out and lose my hair. For those types of perfectionist people who have to be perfect in everything, and seeing the end of that, of being well, you're gonna falter at some point and you can't let it break you, and it's okay to rely on other people. And then Hoshina's character, and you might be overlooked at some point, underestimated, but keep following your dreams. I think every character really establishes some kind of foil for the audience to really relate to, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah. This has already kind of been said, but I love that it's so accessible. It's very easily recommendable. I can recommend it to people who watch every anime that comes out, and I can recommend it to people that don't watch anime at all. It's a crowd pleaser. I love it. I'm not gonna sit here and repeat everything everybody else just said, but yeah, I'm at the end. Okay, I agree.
I concur.
Indubitably.
With your character, what's your favorite dynamic with them?
I truly can't pick my favorite dynamic because I think the beautiful thing about this show is that it excels in its characterization and giving each character their time to shine, while also elaborating on all these different relationships. With every single person here, we have the childhood friendship between Kafka and Mina, and driving my goals. We have the relationships between both Hoshina and Narumi, which are sort of similar in that they are kind of mentors to me and helping me navigate this crazy world. And then with Kikuru, you have the sort of sibling-ish kind of relationship where it's like, it's sort of like this older, younger, like kind of like constantly jesting and fighting, but also still very protective, very caring. And for me to pick one, I legitimately could not do. But I do love all of those dynamics.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to narrow down to one. I really like the Kafka and Hoshina dynamic. I think it's interesting how it evolves over the course of the series. And for those of you who've read the manga, it continues to. No spoilers. But yeah, I love their dynamic. I mentioned earlier that I think Hoshina sees a bit of himself in Kafka. And that even though... Oh, sorry. That was another question. But yeah, he sees a bit of himself in Kafka, and even though he seems like he's kind of hard on him or likes to make fun of him, there's a sweetness there, and kind of a he wants to help in his own kind of way, while getting to laugh at him constantly. And then this season, my favorite dynamic, though, I think has been my scenes with Aaron here, our not so friendly rivalry. I've been describing them as frenemies. I'm not sure if that's exactly it. There's no love lost between them. Yeah, give it time. But no, they fight like cats and dogs, and that's pretty fun. Especially the scene where Hoshina shows up unannounced at the First Division's base, and it's very. I was telling him it's very West Side Story.
It is.
You expect them to start snapping at each other.
Yeah, agreed. I quite like the Hoshina Narumi, but then I also really like Shinomiya and Narumi. There's a lot more coming with that in the manga that I think kind of redeems like Narumi's his insecure clout chasing side. But yeah, I think the funniest part of Narumi is his relationship with his public image. Like, I'll never get over him telling that kid to steal his mother's phone and post Narumi is cool 10 times. Like, while lives are on the line, he takes a minute to make sure he gets his internet clout. It's hilarious to me.
As voice actors, we just can't relate.
Yeah.
No, I would never do that. Never.
I would say definitely my favorite dynamic with Kikuru, the character I voice, would definitely be with Narumi. Since I read the manga and then got to like Narumi's character, I really loved their dynamic a lot. So they're definitely my favorite. I have a soft spot for them. And then that doesn't involve my character. I've always really been a big fan of the relationship between Reno and Ihuru. Love them. They were definitely like my favorite whenever I first read the manga before I even knew like who was cast or anything. So those are my babies. I love them.
For me, it's a tie between Mina and Kafka and Mina and Hoshina, because Mina and Kafka is the only time that you see Mina be really vulnerable and kind of go back to her inner child. But with Hoshina, that's really the only time she gets comedic moments. She's like, when we first started recording the show and we first started going to conventions and people be like, what's the funniest line your character says? I couldn't think of anything because Mina's so serious all the time, but her interactions with Hoshina is where she gets a rare moment of comedy. Like in the special episode, Hoshina's Day Off, which is just a fun episode altogether.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to bring this up.
Yes. My new favorite Mina line is, I thank you and the nation thanks you. When really she's, well, I don't want to spoil it, but it's funny. You should watch it.
Since we're in the world of Kaiju number 8, would you rather join the cleanup squad or the defense squad?
Now, would I rather join and could I join are two different questions.
Yeah.
I would rather join the defense squad. I'd probably end up on the cleanup crew. Look, y'all, I'm 5'5", I'm short, I'm fat. I get out of breath when I walk up one set of stairs. Like, it ain't happening.
This is where that giant Roomba would be really handy.
I was going to say, they just need to evolve their technology a little bit, make it more accessible, I can barely clean up my apartment. I don't know if I'd be very good for the cleanup crew. I need constant reminders to clean up my garage. Yeah, that'd be tough. And that's not, you don't have to clean up guts every day. Yeah, the innards of giant monsters. Yeah, the Defense Force, it seems like it would be more glamorous, obviously. You get a cool, snappy little uniform, and yeah, I'd go with that if they'd have me, which they wouldn't. But yes, I'd give it a shot.
I would do cleanup crew, but I'd really be trying to monetize. I feel like it's underutilized, all of this good organic matter. Either there's a restaurant for it. I mean, there's got to be something cathartic in getting to eat the thing that destroyed your house, right?
I'd feel pretty good. Yeah.
I feel like you could do a food truck that always goes to the refugee camp of the devastated neighborhood.
What you're saying is some black market-ish right now.
Black market kaiju
that's
meat,
not.
Yeah, I really just want to know the cleanup crew.
You're gonna pick the secret third
I need
option.
an in with them.
And have some connections. How
Kaiju
Tony
cooking
Soprano
in
is a
another
waste
world.
management specialist. That's technically what he does for a living on paper. Same kind of thing. Yeah. With the kaiju cleanup crew.
That's crazy.
Get mobbed up. When you said you were soprano earlier, I was like, you're mobbed up?
Not that kind of soprano. Come on, Landon. So I feel like if I joined the cleanup crew, it would be mostly boys, and as a lesbian, that's terrifying. And I don't have enough discipline for the Defense Force. I'm too lazy. Like, I do love like weightlifting and rock climbing and stuff like that, but I like doing it on my own time. I don't think that I would, and I like doing things that I'm good at, and I don't think that would be good enough at it. I don't like being a loser, so I know I wouldn't be good enough to be at the top, so my ego would not be able to withstand it. I would probably be like a third option of
Kaiju food.
being like protesting against the Defense Force, like save the kaiju, like trying to domesticate the kaiju.
PETA?
Misunderstood.
Yeah, like a kaiju zoo or something like that, or being like save the kaiju, like the
You're getting eaten first. I'm
kaiju
sorry.
are critters, and like I have like a little baby domesticated yoju or something like that. Like I think that would be so cute. If there's like a cat kaiju that comes up, it's gonna be over for me. I'm obsessed with cats, so if number 9 knew what to do, he'd make a kaiju that's shaped like a cat, and that
You're
would
in the
be,
Cats fandom too, aren't you?
not the musical. I was never
Aren't
a
you
big
guys
fan
late to the
of
Jellicle
musical.
Ball?
But that would be me.
Okay, I'm gonna say Defense Force, but only because I'm so easily grossed out and so scared of like and gore and bugs and stuff that I might as well just be actually risking my life. I'd be just as scared of the cleanup.
Die.
Yeah, it's like I might as well do the more glamorous, cooler job if I'm gonna be scared for my life every day either way.
Love that.
If you were to have your own kaiju weapon, what would you want it to be, and what would you want it to do?
Oh my God, I'm just gonna say nunchucks. That feels great, and then like I like the idea of like being able to helicopter myself. I can have the power of flight while kicking.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Sometimes you just gotta go with just don't think, just answer.
answer.
Yeah. First answer's best. First thought's best thought.
What part of number 8 do you think Gin would take if he did end up having to, skin you?
You know, I don't like that threat.
Wow.
You take my peeing is what you would do. All right? Stay away from me.
That's the only power that manifests.
That's the answer. Yeah, sin.
Hard to outdo the spontaneous action. Yeah.
I hope you all are enjoying this panel.
Very informative.
See, at first I thought it was lactation, but there's a difference, okay?
Which is worse?
I had to be corrected.
That's worse. That's worse.
What is worse?
What would y'all's weapons be?
Yeah, Landon, you're next.
Me? Well, like Hoshina, I'm a sword guy, but maybe a different kind of sword. Like one of those, like, I would want the kaiju to be like, in the form of like one of those big, like, scimitars or something. That'd be really cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Maybe with like a chainsaw add-on. I'm also a Chainsaw Man.
Okay.
I play the future devil in Chainsaw Man. But yeah, maybe kind of a chainsaw element. That'd be very interesting. I would have to actually start, like lifting weights to actually be able to wield it correctly, but I couldn't do much now.
In this fantasy, it can be lightweight.
That's true.
That's
it
it.
could be. It could be.
Got it. That's it.
You guys keep picking weapons that are very like direct, hands-on, get close to the monster weapons, and I'm not about that.
You don't want to do that?
I think my weapon would be like a big Roomba that just cleans up the kaiju. You just set it and forget it. You just set it and leave.
I like that.
Yeah.
Or, like a big gun.
Oh, big
A BFG.
No
Mina's
close
BFG,
combat
yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah. Or like the underwater equivalent of the Roomba, those little pool cleaners?
Yeah.
Just go around bumping into things? Yeah. Just picture that, a giant version of that. Just churning along out there in the Pacific.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought of a real one. It's kind of horrible, but
Oh my god, I'm scared.
I want a weapon that lays kaiju eggs, so that the small kaiju wake up and they think like I'm their father and they serve me.
They imprint on you?
I lied to you
That is
all.
so
You shouldn't
crazy.
always just speak from your gut.
The way that your
First thing you
mind
speak
thinks,
sometimes.
Yeah.
the way that your mind scares me sometimes. That's so funny. I would want a hoverboard that doubles as a crossbow. So it has a crossbow on the front of it. So I have to like double tap with my foot or something like that to make it as like a crossbow. I think that would be so cool because I want the power of flight, but I also really like bow and arrows. So I think that would be like a perfect combination.
I like it.
Yeah, I'll prototype that.
If you had to fight, as your characters, if you had to fight a kaiju or any giant monster from any popular media, who would you choose?
I'm just going to go ahead and go out with a bang. We'll just say Godzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cop out.
Done. Yeah. Done. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
One shot, one hit.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
It's a Toho property. They could cross over. They have already. There was an image that was released at AX. Yeah. For me, I'm a Godzilla nerd, so I'll do a deep dive. Not just Rodan, but specifically Fire Rodan from Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2. That's my favorite kaiju right there, so I'd love to see Hoshina go up against him. Yeah, I think that'd be a good matchup for sure. Because like Hoshina, he's light on his feet and is full of surprises. So yeah, I'd like to see that.
The founding titan. Narumi just comes out of a helicopter. And he just is like, what the? Just guns. Okay.
Guns blazing. Guns blazing. That is crazy. One of the games that I played, I think it was on the PlayStation 2 growing up with my brother, was War of the Monsters.
That's a great game. I love
Yeah, we loved playing that game. And so I would say I always played the praying mantis like monster in that game. And so I would say like Kikuru with her mom's suit with the wings via the praying mantis would be a sick fight. I would watch that.
Thank you, no one, for stealing my answer because I've used this answer before, but I stand by it. Hear me out.
Hear me out.
Clifford the Big Red Dog is a kaiju.
He is.
He is.
Are we imagining like a Cujo scenario where he got rabies?
Oh, God.
No.
Giant rabid dog?
No.
I mean, he wouldn't be a threat.
Oh, you'd have. Okay,
I
I
could
see.
just.
He'd be a
good
help.
boy. And
He'd
then,
be a help, not a hindrance.
And
Okay.
then there's no fight.
Yeah.
Because it's Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Domesticate the kaiju, and then ride him into battle against the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters. I can see it now. Yes.
Technically, he's a kaiju.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
If you could choose an animal for a sidekick, what would you choose?
A chihuahua.
Bucky the Beaver?
Monkey.
Oh, Monkey. I thought you were talking about like Bucky's the gas station.
All right. My chihuahua.
A vampire bat.
Ooh.
Yes.
Fox.
Diddy Kong.
All right. Little monkey. What would your would you keep
Oh,
yours?
I can answer?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I would.
Take turns riding on each other.
A capybara.
There we go.
My favorite animal.
Thank you guys.